Welcome to Revenue Search, everyone.
And then, of course, there's a show called Revenue Search by DSV.
I am such an avid viewer of your podcast.
One of the resources I highly recommend is the Revenue Research Podcast, hosted by DSV.
Hosted by DSV Funds co-founder and CIO Siam Kidd and CEO Mark Creaser.
D'ailleurs, ces podcasts sont animés par DSV, donc on le verra plus tard.
One standout resource highly recommended is the Revenue Search Podcast.
One great role in the ecosystem you guys do, plus you're in there investing. Like, it's just amazing. I love what you guys do.
And their show digs into real numbers, real subnet strategies, and where institutional money is flowing.
Back again for the second time. We need to stop meeting like this, Mark. I can make this revenue stream way better. Hold on. There we go.
Pay attention to what these guys are doing. They also provide a lot of, like you said, really high quality information.
Revenue Search is all about, I want to know, if I put $1 in on this end of the box, how soon does $10 come out that end?
Hier auch einen Podcast zu diesem DSV-Fund. Dieser nennt sich Revenue Search.
And I can confidently say he is one of the brightest minds when it comes to thinking about investments.
They also did a pod with Bitcast.
Hello, welcome to Revenue Search.
I mean, what else is there left to say? It was perfect.
But as you know, I have zero life. I just sit in this chair all day, just looking at subnets. Guess what?
What? Oh.
Time's up.
I was going to say, at least you haven't got to spend time watering that tree. What's that all about?
I'm in an Airbnb at the moment, and it's fake.
No. We're back.
Hey.
Welcome back to Revenue Search after a triple header hat trick of Revenue Search live streams yesterday. We are back for the first of a double header today. My name's Mark Creaser. I am living the hedge fund lifestyle here, doing this from the back of my car. It's all glamour. It's all go. My co-host.
Are you sure you're not just living in your car at the moment?
Yeah, times are tight, mate. I've gone all in. My cheeky little co-host, as always, our CIO Siam Kidd. He's got himself a nice cold drink, and perhaps he's going to introduce someone who's no stranger to Revenue Search. Siam.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for letting me in on your black T-shirt dress code for this Revenue Search. There's me looking like a numpty with my Temu shirt on. Yeah. So everyone should already know James. He's one of the co-founders of Synth. He's been on a couple of times now, and we've done a fair few OTC deals. And we thought we'd get him back on. Don't worry, we'll ask some basic idiot questions like normal. But I think the first thing we want to, again, for the full transparency thing, we've just done another OTC with Synth. So yeah, James, thank you so much for being back here.
It's a pleasure. It's always great to come on, tell you about what we're up to. And I think this one's long overdue. And as always, we appreciate your support, and it's great to have you as partners as we try and drive Synth forward. So happy to dig into all the stuff we've been building.
Fantastic. And you've been busy. Yeah, you have been busy. Siam's constantly rabbiting on about Synth this, Synth that. Always excited. Always like, listen. I think we could just deploy some more funds in Synth's direction this month, and that's why I think this is the right time for a Revenue Search, because we seem to be deploying in your direction every month. Synth must be one of our biggest holdings. Siam, where's Synth at?
Second. As of today, we've got about 800 grand in Synth. Ridges is our first, and then Synth. So
$800,000 worth of Synth sitting in our strategic wallet, long-term hold there. And so James, talk me through it. Like, what's Siam getting so excited about? What's happened in the last few weeks that's triggered this rush of excitement for Synth?
So last time I came on Revenue Search was a few months back, and we were very much focused on improving the quality of the data and improving the outputs of miners, the predictions, the simulations, like that was our goal, because they weren't at a level where we could actively use them. And over the last, say, 4 or 5 weeks, that's very much changed. The data is much higher quality, and we started actively deploying the data into different trading strategies on different platforms. We've also found a much stronger BD offering to large crypto ecosystems primarily to get their assets listed. We've closed the first deal, and we have a pipeline of deals coming up. So yeah, we've kind of moved from like trying to get a product working to now needing to like distribute this product. And essentially Synth is now, or our side of Synth is becoming like the monetization arm, which we're going to keep using to drive value back to the Synth ecosystem.
Okay, so the excitement has come because you're making that transition from working on product to working on revenue. You've got a product that works.
Yeah.
The data's better. Fantastic. I understand that. So I don't want to spend too long on this because there is another revenue search that goes into this in depth. But I think let's just briefly cover off what Synth does so that people can understand what that data is and what that product's likely to look like.
Yeah, absolutely. So Synth is essentially an AI forecasting engine for asset prices. We primarily focus on crypto, but we also do commodities. Miners on Synth submit forecasts of prices over the next 24 hours. The difference with Synth is they submit Monte Carlo simulations. So they submit 100 price paths over the next 24 hours, every 5 minutes for an asset. And this is very high fidelity data, which we can use to train models and do lots of cool stuff.
Okay, so your miners predict where the price of an asset is going to go. Excuse me. Miners predict where the.
So what they're really doing is they're modeling volatility, and so they're predicting like potential price paths, and the miners are scored on how accurate their price paths are to the actual price path, the actual price movement of the asset over the next 24 hours. So essentially what you're trying to do when you're modeling volatility is you're trying to model the range you think an asset could go. You're not necessarily trying to say the price will go up or down, but you're trying to say the price will probably move within this range. And that's essentially what miners are being scored on. They're scored on how accurate their volatility models are of an asset price. And yeah, right now we do 5-minute intervals, and miners submit the next 24 hours, and they're continuously scored using our scoring mechanism.
Okay, so and what's the biggest asset that you've got data for?
So BTC was the first asset. Then we added ETH. Then we added Sol and Jito Sol through a partnership with Jito, which is a large protocol on Solana. And we also added gold. We did a public vote to see which asset we should add next, and Const and a few others voted for gold, and everyone ended up voting for gold, so we added gold.
So what Synth does then is it creates a forecast for what's going to happen to big assets like Bitcoin and gold next. And last time we spoke, you were working on making that more accurate, making those predictions better. And now you've done that, and now it should be fairly straightforward to make some money on the back of that.
Yeah,
if you know what's going to happen next, it's always easy to make money, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we have multiple ways that we can make money. And I think we discussed this in the previous revenue search. But one more recent development, which we found Synth is very good at, is pricing and trading within prediction markets. So we have a model that's live on PolyMarket that's actively trading there. And we're going to release very soon one of the addresses, make it public. We'll call it Synth on PolyMarket. We'll link it from the website so people can see how profitable it's been. We also are starting to actively trade options across Deribit and Bybit, Binance, OKX. So that's going well. We're also starting institutional onboarding with a platform called Koshi, which we're also aiming to do the same as PolyMarket. So this like trading arm is one future focus, and yeah, we're committing to use revenues from this to to put into our like treasury for potential future alpha buybacks.
Okay, so let me understand that a bit more. So PolyMarket is the betting website, isn't it, where you go and have a little bet on what's going to happen next?
Prediction market. Not yeah. It's there's a difference. They make it very clear they're a prediction market, not a betting market. But essentially, you can bet
on the predictions, though, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're backing your prediction with money. That sounds like a bet.
Exactly. So they have multiple different markets on there. They have sports markets. They have politics markets. They also have crypto markets. So you can bet, like, will the price of Bitcoin be above $115,000 by the end of the day? And these markets are really good for like Synth data sets. They've also added hourly markets. So essentially you can bet on like these hourly markets. Will the price of Bitcoin be above or below a certain amount at the next hour? And they've recently just added 15-minute markets, which are also super exciting. So they're starting to like increase the number of assets that are available on PolyMarket, and also increase like the frequency of these markets. So they're pretty fun.
So that's your backyard now that they're shrinking the time horizon. That's where you can sort of shine.
So exactly. your product that you've nailed allows you to forecast what's going to happen with gold and with Bitcoin and with ETH, and then PolyMarket, I guess, they're also, that's a market where you can predict, you can bet, you can put money behind your predictions,
trade.
And you're looking for you're looking for markets where you've got an edge, and then you are backing the Synth predictions over PolyMarkets.
Absolutely. So we actually, like, people who have followed like the product, you can sign up to like synth.co. synth.co, and you can like go into the product and you can see all these dashboards. We actually built out a dashboard for PolyMarket, and so you could compare the Synth price and the PolyMarket price. We decided not to release that dashboard. We was like, oh, wait a second, there's potentially some edge in here. So we started to use the Synth data now to actively trade on PolyMarket. As I said, we're pretty confident in Synth's ability now to, let's not say beat the market, but to be profitable. We're soon gonna start releasing wallets, which we're using on PolyMarket to just demonstrate that Synth can earn money within these types of markets. Our goal now is to scale this up to run across options markets and different types of markets, other prediction market venues.
And this is perfect for you because you're not a price predictor. You're not saying Bitcoin will be this price in 5 minutes or 1 hour's time. You're looking at price path projections, and therefore these PolyMarket markets, where is it going to be up or down from this point in 5 minutes? That's where I think this is perfect for you. And like you said, you're not trying to beat the market. With trading, you're never beating the market. You just need a positive expectancy system. Then you need to basically run that. And then you need to roll that dice as many times as possible for expectancy to come through into your portfolio. That's basically what you're doing. And also scaling. So you're doing this across multiple different, from Deribit, Bybit to PolyMarket to Koshi. So this is your scaling sort of situation, right?
Exactly, yeah. So we started out like actively implementing this around 3-4 weeks ago, making really good progress. This is one very exciting like path towards continuing to like generate revenue.
Nice.
So Koshi and those other options that are like basically just more versions.
Yeah, essentially like PolyMarket's like binary options. So options trading or 0-day options are very similar to the PolyMarket day markets.
So the way that you scale it is you do it on PolyMarket and Koshi and the other things, and then you go down the different time horizons. So you do it over this time frame and this time frame and this time frame, and then I guess you just work out which asset you're going to add into the product next, and so you can continue to scale it in a few different ways, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like right now they have primarily like BTC ETH markets. They also have Sol markets. This kind of leads into, I guess, the next thing. But like, yeah, we can do the 1 hour markets, the daily markets. PolyMarket, as I mentioned, has like the 15-minute markets. So we're potentially looking to create like a high frequency or a higher frequency version of Synth. As I said at the beginning, Synth request miners to submit forecasts every 5 minutes. But we look at these 15-minute markets and the forecasts are too slow for that, right? So we could look to create a subnet or just, request miners to give us much higher frequency predictions for us to be able to trade on those much faster markets. Like, you never know. PolyMarket might soon release like 5-minute markets where you're guessing the price up or down across 5-minute timeframes. So we would start requesting predictions from miners every minute, or if we can work on the latency, get that down to like 10 seconds and have a much higher frequency system running. But yeah, that's in the pipeline. Lots of work to do before that.
And you're already doing this. And what you said you were going to release is details of the wallets that you're trading with. Because you can't say this is where there's a big difference. This is where we've got an edge, because your edge will be blunted. What you can do is you can release details of the wallet, and then people can see that you've got an edge. You're backing it with cash. And
yeah, absolutely. Like
time frame for that?
Sorry, a time frame within the next like 7 to 10 days. We're pretty confident. We've been pretty happy recently with the results, and keen to share. I think the key thing to note is right now there's not like huge amounts of liquidity on PolyMarket, so it's not like this strategy on PolyMarket will be earning hundreds of thousands of dollars every day. But this is an area which is like rapidly growing, and we see a lot of like retail demand for trading within prediction markets. So we're excited to be a core part of the infrastructure. Or we're excited to be providing this infrastructure, market making, prop trading, whatever you want to call it, on PolyMarket, as we see it's very likely to take off and grow even further. So it's exciting. And we have a few wallets, but we'll be sharing one of those, so everyone will be able to view on a real-time basis how the strategy is performing, as I guess a proof point for the performance of the models on the subnet. I think one other thing to note is that the subnet data, the real edge, people often say where's the edge in the subnet data, right? So we have roughly 200 miners submitting models, and really the edge is in taking a meta model of the top models, back testing them, seeing where there's potentially an edge, and using those. And that's the bit that takes a lot of time and effort, because the meta model could be the top 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 models. And there's a huge amount of data to crunch. There's roughly 160 million data points per day being uploaded to Synth. So it's actually quite a task to kind of parse all this data and create strategies.
This is pretty much a sort of a live or die sort of moment. If we were to talk in analogies, it's like day one when you came on Revenue Search, you're like, hey, I'm an aspiring chef. I've got a recipe that I'd like to cook, but I'm not sure if it'll work. You've now made the food. That's what you've been doing over the last couple of months. And now you're about to eat it, but you're not just eating it privately. You're going to eat this food publicly. And whether you die of food poisoning is going to be public. So this is, and if all goes well, and the food is not only, nice, you're going to set up a restaurant and earn money from this food. So, and I think this is where sort of quality is separated from maybe pretenders, because if your shit didn't work, you wouldn't be sharing the wallets, doing this on all of the public markets. So yeah, I tip my hat to you.
Somebody's just tuned in and they honestly think that James has got a restaurant.
Well,
actually do.
Right, okay,
But
go on then.
That's another story for another day.
What else? How are you? Because I mean, once you've got it working, there's loads of ways to make money from it. What's the next thing on the list?
Yeah, so we've also started to ramp up like RBD. Amber, who's been leading like a lot of like Synth's operations, and she's been leading a lot at Synth. She's now focused primarily on BD. We're working together to close high 5-figure, low 6-figure deals to add new assets into the subnet. So we've seen like a lot of very successful crypto protocols take this approach. Like I think Chainlink is probably the most common. They supply Oracle data to assets. So if you want your asset to be listed on big lending markets in crypto, you need to have an Oracle for your asset. So if you're a new asset that's like in the top 100 on CoinMarketCap, you need to have oracles, and then your asset can be added to lending markets, to perps, dexes, to all these different things, right? So it's like a critical piece of infrastructure. So our goal with Synth is to work with these ecosystems to get their assets added to Synth. And of course, like there'll be a cost associated with that, because it takes a fair amount of time. We have to have everyone update their systems, validate with miners, etc. And we'll use this to put into our pool of capital that we can use across like the Synth ecosystem. So we have a pretty good pipeline of projects lined up. We added Solana, GTO recently. The next asset we're going to add within the next 2 weeks. So we're super excited about that. And we're roughly going to add like one new asset each month. Most likely going to be probably like a top 50, top 75 crypto protocol. And yeah, we've got lots of conversations ongoing. And yeah, the other exciting thing is like off the back of this, if we add these assets, then we can potentially also do like market making for them on prediction markets in the future. So there's quite like a nice route for like utility from when that asset is added to Synth. It's not just sitting there. It can be used across like the DeFi ecosystem or the Synth models, the Synth dashboards. And also, yeah, potentially we can like help them have markets on like different types of prediction markets, as we'll be able to supply the data to, model and market makers.
You're basically turning into a hedge fund.
Trying not to.
Mate, it's all glamour. What is market making, and how do you make money from that, or how would you make money from that?
So, I mean, essentially, like, if like right now there are ETH, BTC, Sol markets on PolyMarket. Like, if a new asset comes to us, let's say XRP. XRP is a top 10 crypto asset, has loads of liquidity, but it's not currently live on PolyMarket. If it wants to go live on PolyMarket, someone needs to come and needs to put liquidity into the order book, so people can buy and sell on the prediction market, right? If there's no liquidity, there's no market there, it's very unlikely the market just emerges immediately. Someone needs to come in and essentially set like buy and sells or set a spread. And that's essentially what we would come in and do based on like the Synth models, right? The Synth expected volatility models. That's where we come in and can kind of set those ranges. And you set a spread, and as a market maker, you usually make profits based on like the spread between buys and sells.
So you would make money on that, but you're making money up front, because that in that example, XRP would pay you to do the market making for their ecosystem.
I mean, this is something like potentially in the future, right? The core thing is like we're working to onboard more assets to Synth, and like we charge an integration fee to integrate your asset into Synth, and start getting it modeled. When it's modeled, we then add like your asset into all the dashboards across synthdata.co. These dashboards, this data can be used by AI agents within your ecosystem, lending protocols. There's like hundreds of use cases within like DeFi and tooling. Another potential use case is if Ripple XRP were like, hey, we want to be on PolyMarket, we can say, great, well, you can use our models, or we can use our models to like set up the markets for you there.
Okay. And how much do you charge someone to do the thing?
To integrate, roughly like high 5, low 6 figures.
How many?
And you can do.
We've integrated one so far. We're aiming to do one each month for the next 12 months.
And there's plenty to go at if you're looking at the top 50, top 75.
Yeah, there's roughly like, I think 30 ecosystems, which would be a fit. 30 to 50.
Okay, so, and this is what Amber's focusing on. So you flicked Amber from ops over to biz dev.
Yeah.
So now she's approaching those ecosystems saying, hey, we can do this for you.
Is Amber real? I've never seen her.
And this.
Is she like an AI avatar?
Yeah, she is. She was at the big conference in Austin, so a few people met her.
Fair enough.
So, all right. I'm not going to pretend to understand all of that, but it all sounds very, very positive. People are going to pay you low 5s to low 6 figures to do the integration, and then once the integration's in play, not only have you banked that cash, but then you can make more money because you're the holder of the information.
Potentially. I mean, I think it's not like something that will happen like tomorrow, that we'll have these assets listed on prediction markets, but it's a potential route forward in the future. Like if some of them have options markets, we can also use the Synth data to trade on those options markets, but not many do. Like the majority of liquidity on options markets is within like the top 5 tokens. So ETH, BTC, ETH, SOL, and a few others. We think that will change with like prediction markets, because it essentially like gives more access, easy access to people trading options or a type of option. So we think more assets will start to be listed on prediction markets very soon. They already have been. So yeah, it's another potential future project to work on with these projects.
Now we are getting into the alphanomics type. So obviously we have on one end Mog with Hippias, and he's basically doing minor lockups to sort of stem the amount of alpha that slams into that lick pool. Mm-hmm. On the other end, you have Fish with Siam that's just doing pure buyback and burn, and then you've got Ridges which are doing equity, sort of like security type stuff. Where's Synth going to be on that whole on that weird spectrum?
So our goal is to build up the treasury and deploy funds to keep us in the top 10. Like we see being in the top 10 before the halving as like that's our core goal. There's a few reasons for that. Obviously, like you get more emissions the longer you are higher up, and at the halving those emissions off. So that's not great. You want to kind of lock your place in. We think it's going to be harder for teams to move around, and that's kind of been our goal since day one. Like we want to be a top 10, top 5 subnet. So we want to build up this pool of capital so we can use it strategically to ensure we're in the top 10.
Nice.
So, okay. Have you done any buybacks yet?
Not yet.
Do you have capital available for buybacks?
Yeah. Low 6 figures.
Nice.
Okay. When are you going to start buybacks? How are you going to do it?
Probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks. We'll see how like Synth is performing, and we will announce them publicly.
Right.
But yeah, we're not trying to tie ourselves for multiple reasons, some of them being legal, to saying XYZ is going to happen at this time. But yeah, we want to kind of show our intention, and then obviously like people can follow up with us and make sure that we follow through on this intention.
So No. How else? Okay, you're going to be doing buyback and burns. Is there a way to make Synth grow faster? Let's say just you're not going to do buyback and burns. Let's say it's not allowed anymore. How else could you deploy 100, 200 grand or more to grow faster?
I think mostly into like business development, hiring more people internally, to integrate lighting systems, selling data like directly to other like parties like hedge funds that want to actively use this type of data. I think that's probably where we could benefit the most, like if we were trying to spend on growth. But we see this this dynamic that exists in Bittensor, which probably doesn't exist in other places, where you need the quality of the data to be good. And so you need your alpha token to stay high, right? Because if you're giving away a few $100 a day, you're not going to have good miners, and the quality of your data is not going to be good.
Makes sense.
So you need to like have this balance where you need to have a certain amount of emissions to miners, because you need the quality of the data. You need great miners to be excited to participate. And I think you see this across like things like Ridges, like Synth. I like to hope that we have lots of the best quants in the world like wanting to compete, because they can potentially earn more than their salary right now if they're winning these competitions. Same with like Ridges and software engineers. So yeah, you kind of need to have this balance. There's like this tension between funding like growth internally and making sure your alpha token stays high. And that's obviously a combination of like having great product, having good marketing, and like matching the two.
Nice.
So I'm clear there, because your edge is so fine, and because other people, like people could do predictions in other ways, and you really want them to be producing their best predictions for you. You want the best people on it, and the way to make that work is to reward them, and the way to reward them as best you can is to keep your emissions higher. So then it becomes like a virtuous circle, really. If you have the best miners, then your edge is wider, so you make more money, so then you can support your token, which keeps paying the miners more than anybody else would, so you get the brightest people to create the sharpest edge to make more money, and it keeps cycling around. But you think it's going to be harder to move up and down, harder to move up the kind of the subnet ladder post halving. Where are we at there?
I think like 75, 80 days. So it's fast approaching. So this is like a crucial time, I think, for everyone to go into like growth mode.
Okay, so you've been squirreling a little bit of money away, waiting for the last. We're doing the 3,000 meter race here, and we're into the last 400 meters, and you're like that.
Exactly.
Exactly. I feel sorry for the subnets that subnet 129 onwards, where they're coming in post halving and their liquid's growing at half the speed.
I think like D Towers create like a long-term game, right? Like there's definitely a long-term focus to everything we do, but when you're running a startup, it's like a series of sprints. You can't just look at where you want to be in like 2-3 years. You have to look at where you want to be at the end of the month, the end of the week, and you have to like go pretty hard. But like, for like everyone in the ecosystem, the halving is like a set date that everyone should be focused on, because things do change to the dynamic of the ecosystem after that date. So we're like, hyper aware of like where we need to be by that point.
Amazing.
Okay. So you're not saying you're going to commit all revenue to buybacks. You're not saying that you're going to do X amount of buybacks. You're saying that we're going to commit some revenue to buybacks. Our goal is top 10, top 5 subnets by the halving. You've already got 6 figures tucked away there, clever, ready to deploy, and that's why Siam keeps phoning you up and asking you to do an OTC deal.
I'm trying to like tip it upside down and shake him by his ankles and hoping alpha falls out, and I'll just grab it up.
It's like he's running a restaurant and you really want his garlic bread.
And his wine. Yeah. Right.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Well,
thank you, James.
That's been good. I'm excited to see that. So yeah, we need to be looking at that wallet that you're trading on PolyMarket with when you do that. That's something to keep an eye open for. And yeah, you can announce some buybacks when you start doing them in the next couple of weeks.
Cool. Yeah, thank you so much for having us on. As always, yeah, people can check out like the dashboards, the live data at synthdata.co. Any quants listening, please jump into Discord, join the competition. Any ecosystems listening, if you're interested in getting your asset listed on Synth, then yeah, we're extremely excited to chat. And yeah, thank you so much, both of you, for the ongoing support. And yeah, for Revenue Search, which is a gem of a podcast.
No.
One of the top 10, I would say.
Definitely top 10.
One of the top 10 of the podcast. When is this top 10 podcast coming back, Simon? When are we back? When's the next live stream?
In 20 minutes.
20 minutes. I'm not even going to make it to the next service station down the M40. I'm just going to have to sit here. Cool. Okay. Well, James, thank you very much indeed for joining us. We'll see you again on other Revenue Search at some point once you've started doing that stuff. Maybe we'll check in just before, and you'll be doing some desperate sprint towards the halving.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
It's always a sprint. It's always fairly tiring, but it's fun. Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Cheerio.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks very much. Bye bye.
And stream.